the show with your friend and mine. So tell me, Dr. Squee, who's it gonna be this time? We like to hear you talk, and we love to hear you listen. And if you are not subscribed, you won't know what you're missing. So welcome to the Dr. Squee Show. Welcome to the Dr. Squee Show. Welcome to the Dr. Squee Show. Headphones up, here we go.
Hello and welcome back to the Dr. Squee Show. I'm Dr. Squee and this here is my show. Doing a double tonight. This is our second interview of the night. We're now welcoming a filmmaker whose new film, A Day to Die, stars Bruce Willis. This exciting action film sees an ex-military officer having one day to get $2 million in reparations to a local gang leader to secure the release of his kidnapped wife. Also starring Kevin Dillon and Frank Grillo. Please welcome to the Dr. Squee Show, Wes Miller.
Hey, thanks for having me.
How are you doing tonight?
I'm great, man. I'm great. Tonight, today, you know.
Whatever it may be in your given time zone.
Yep.
Which I was just explaining. By the way, anyone who was expecting to be tuning into this in an hour's time, I do apologize, but America changed their time zones a week out from when the UK does it next weekend. So Thank you for tuning in if you got this live. If not, it's on video. It'll be out there. It's fine. The poster for the new film, Day to Die, there sounds absolutely amazing. And I do want to get onto it. Before we do that, I'm going to go a little bit off piece from what I asked you first. Only because I saw a news clip and it just kind of like incensed me. And I kind of got you. I wanted to get your opinion on this. Okay. So the BAFTAs was just recently here in the UK. Mm-hmm. And this news story was lauding the fact that because a Latino woman had won a BAFTA for West Side Story, they've tackled their diversity issue. Now, to me, I think that falls a little bit short in 2022, giving one Latina actress a BAFTA to say that you've kind of sorted out diversity. As a proud Black filmmaker, how do you think it's going?
You know, I mean, it's a very complex question. I think your initial response, your feeling on it is 100% correct. Like, you don't reverse hundreds of years of discriminatory practices, either intentional or negligent, you know, with one, award per se, especially when there's been so many qualified, performers like way before now. And, just so thankfully they actually recognized her wonderful work. But yeah, and there has been a lot of change. There has been change. So we're not where we were 30 years ago, but there's still a lot of change needed. And, the fact that we're having to quote unquote celebrate the first in 2022 is really concerning. Again, because we've had so many wonderful performers, either from, the UK or from the United States in, foreign films. And, it's just it's disheartening and encouraging all at the same time.
Yeah, thank you very much. I know I put you on the spot with that one. I just saw it just before we went on. I'm like, no, just no, please don't say that.
And it won't change, man, until the heads of the networks and the studios and the people who are financing films, until diversity reaches those levels, and it's not just a cool thing to say, but a real practice that's taking place, and an acknowledgement that all people, despite where you come from and the color of your skin, can contribute to the arts. Until that's seen on those highest levels, we're always going to still be celebrating these quote unquote first and seconds for hopefully not another 100 years, but definitely for a while to come.
And getting back to yourself, sir. So again, thank you very much for indulging me on that one. It burned just a little bit watching that. But for you, sir, it seems like you're someone whose star is currently in the ascendancy with your last film, Ron Perlman and Western, and now you've got this wonderful action film with Bruce Willis. How's it been that kind of like, you seem to have gone quite a roller coaster ride over the last few years with your career?
Yeah, I mean, it's been a fun journey. Again, it's just beginning for me. I started full-time filmmaking like in 2015. And I love it. It's hard. It's extremely hard. But like being able to work with talented people like the Bruce and the Leon and the Grillo and Kevin Dillon and Ron Perlman and David Jesse from actually over in the UK, Tay and George, like all of my collaborators, has just been really wonderful. It's they've helped me grow, and it's been humbling that they actually trust me, with pieces of their career. And I've just always worked to continue to get better in the craft and deliver. And yeah, really excited about Day to Die. It's a cool little action film.
Yeah, I mean, it seems like at the moment there would be loads of opportunities opening up for yourself. What was it about this story which seemed like the one to tell right now?
So when I got the screenplay, the goal was, it was, it felt like it was okay, but the plot, kidnapping, $2 million, time, we've seen it. So my goal was, is like, I had to think about myself in a career. What do I want to? What kind of filmmaker do I want to be? And ultimately, Leon actually helped me uh, formulate this, the actor Leon, but it was a filmmaker who makes socially relevant action movies. I want something that appeals to a mass audience, because we do this work and we want people to see it. At the same time, I do the work because I enjoy making entertaining, and have something to say, but and at the same time, you got to make it entertaining so financiers will finance your work. And so looking at that, I was like, okay, let me see, how can I infuse a little bit more of myself? What can I do to bring something unique to it, and to quote unquote elevate it a little bit? And then that's when I went and did the work and developed the character that Leon plays. And just added a few socially relevant links, metaphors, so to speak, that just hopefully while you're on this fun ride, you're getting a little bit more into it as well.
And Frank Grillo, he was in the Western which you did, sorry, Hell on the
Mhm.
Border,
Yeah.
and you chose him for like the lead in this film. What was it about him that seemed right for this one?
So, I mean, Frank is like the consummate professional. Like, he has a intensity on screen that is just like literally unmatched. And we hit it off on Hell on the Border. And like, he's just good. You know what I mean? Like, when and he's helpful, and like, again, like we became friends off of that one. And then so when I was thinking of the leader of this group, and I knew what his ultimate fate was going to be in the film, I felt like I wanted somebody who had that intensity of strength, but also had the ability to be vulnerable, that would allow the audience into their psyche just a little bit, and so that they care about this character, so whenever what happens to him, towards in the film, they're like right there with them and empathizing with them. And I just felt like he had all those qualities. And he signed on early. We were supposed to do this before COVID hit, but then when COVID hit, we had to, like everybody else, just kind of shelve it until things got safe. And so he stayed on board with us.
And you've got Bruce Willis in an action film. Not really. He seems to be playing more the kind of police chief role.
Mhm.
Is there any pressure when you've got Bruce Willis on the set and you're doing an action film? Like, is he going, no, I don't think so. Yeah, maybe not that way.
By the time he comes on set, he's already dialed into the material pretty well. So
Yeah.
you don't, it is. I mean, you try not to fanboy out, because you're like, man, that's like Bruce Willis standing over there. So you take that in for like 30 seconds, and then you get your wits about yourself, and you go do the work. But no, he was great, man. Like, him and his team, they were wonderful. And I know Bruce gets a lot of flack because he's working a lot now, which he's working a lot because people like watching him. So
Yeah.
so the thing for us was, we knew Bruce was going to be in the movie. We knew people would want us. There is a subset of people that would consider it a Bruce movie. But this is, a really ensemble piece with a lot of wonderful actors. And and when people, outside of the let's see what Bruce is doing next camp watch it, we're getting really wonderful responses, and it really makes me happy.
Well, I will get all the Bruce fanboy questions out of the way first, because like he'll just always be John McClane. Sorry, not Don McClane.
Always.
That's a very different person, Don McClane. But he'll always be John McClane, if not the guy from Moonlighting back in the day. I'm old enough to remember.
Yep.
But I mean, the one thing which you do hear is some directors seem to have, for whatever reason, and it's not meant as a gotcha question, just some filmmakers don't seem to have gotten well with Bruce. How did you find working with him, and how is there a way of working with a big presence such as him, or do you just treat it like, it's just the work and get on with it?
Yeah, you treat it like the work. And I think the thing is, it's like actors at that level they know they could be intimidating. And as a director, you're either going to be intimidated and let them, and not direct them, or you're going to give them what they really want, which is a firm direction. Not firm meaning mean, but they want to know that you know what the objective of the scene is. They want to know that what you're going for when you're shooting. You're not just shooting 100 shots just to be shooting 100 shots. And that's it. And it's just really goes back to being prepared as a director and coming in, letting the talent know that you're prepared and that you're ready, and you're going to do everything in your power to, get a great performance. And the other part is this, is like, you have to trust your collaborators. And so like a lot of times when we would begin our scenes, we take the script, we walk it out, we talk it out, we block it out. If something's not working, we cross it out. And then we, replace it with what's working, or can we sell it with a look? And then you dial into the scene, and then once you find the rhythm, camera's up, and so you're getting the work in. So it's just like, gotta go.
And like it seems like these are bigger and bigger and more ambitious films you're doing, but maybe still on a kind of tighter budget. How do you produce action on a tight budget? Because it doesn't seem to compromise. We've only been provided with the trailer so far, but it doesn't seem to compromise on the action for the budget. How do you make that compromise?
Yeah, there's two pieces of that. One, technology has really leveraged, the accessibility to make cinematic images. So we use 6K cameras on this one from this company called Zcam. Christopher McQuarrie is using them on Mission Impossible, and One Car Y is using them on Blossoms. It's like a really new tool that is breaking through the ecosystem of like the heavy red and heavy area Alexa. And so I love those cameras. So I was able to use 6K cameras, which allowed us to get great coverage, plus have the ability to punch in as needed on certain shots. Then the other part of that is realizing that when you're shooting, if you don't have a big budget, no, you can't stage and do like the huge master shots of it like 5 different times. You know what I mean? You got to be selective and showing what you shoot, and just making sure that every frame that you utilize is full. And so I looked at a lot of like Peter Berg's work. I looked at some of the earlier Jason Bourne work, and I just kind of really studied the frames, and it's just like, okay, like what makes this feel big, what makes this feel small. And these were guys that that use the handheld aesthetic very effectively. So, and Paul Greengrass, like he's just a master at it. So I was just like, look, like what makes it feel big, what makes it feel small. And then you go in through preparation and just like get your shot list together. Make sure when the frame goes up, everything that you need to fill the frame to make it feel big is fill it. Trust your shot list once you've done it, when you don't have that, like, because when you're doing shot list, you don't have the pressure of like, I got to go. You've had a chance to think it through. Trust that shot list. If you want to get a couple of extra shots, great. But once you get that shot list, move on to the next one, because you don't really have a lot of time. So that really helped. And that was it. And then the performers, their faces, like, we love their faces. Like, that's why we watch. So, using specific times to go into the close-ups to bring the audience into the emotion actually helps it feel, a lot bigger as well. So that was it, just a lot of planning, realizing, how, coming up with a strategy to fill the frames to make them feel as full as possible. Being selective when we do pull out for like wider shots, and that was it.
And is there a particular action scene we should look out for? One like you're really proud when it all came together?
Yeah, there are a few. Like, I'm really proud of all of them. My stunt team was amazing. My special effects team was amazing. My armorer team was amazing. Like, we were able to pull together some really big feeling, action sequences. So I don't think one necessarily trumps the other. I'm really proud of there's a huge gunfight, at the end, like towards the end. But then there's some emotional action beats like at the beginning, you know. Yeah, I mean, so we try to give the audience a little bit of everything to have fun with along this ride.
And especially kind of in the times just after the tragic incident on Rust with Alec Baldwin, how do you ensure safety and like still work at a great pace when you're doing something like this?
I mean, great question. So we shot this before Rush, it just happened, like we shot in March or April last year, and what Rush was like, what, August sometime, September. Um, what happened on Rush is such a tragedy, and so many different safety checks were missed in order for that tragedy to happen. And I think, like, for us, having a qualified armorer was just like key. Eric Petaway and his wife Adrian, he's a former U.S. Marshal, or not former, he's a current U.S. Marshal, and he's just A+. So, like, for us, no matter how fast we're moving, um, gun safety was not compromised. So once clips are emptied, the armor is supposed to come. Finger comes off the trigger, armor comes to get the weapon, and I'm normally like really close to my actors just because like that's kind of school I come from. It's like I want to be close to my actors in the fray as much as possible, next to camera, close to them. So like when guns would get like soon as the last hits and I got cut, I'm like, where's Eric? He'd be like literally like, I'm right here, boss. Like literally like right here next to me, ready to jump in when I say go. And yeah, and we take the time to check. Everybody checks the cylinders before any cold weapons are moved around at all. The specific number of rounds are put into a magazine. We know how many there are. That's how many get shot. When you stop, you stop. And it's just really following theirs. And that's just very high level, just like, quick observations. But there's a specific protocol that's in place before guns get to actors. And then when actors utilize them, and then when they finish discharging them, there's a protocol to keep everything safe and secure and, under lock and key and behind like iron bars so nobody gets to them. I mean, if you follow safety rules like that have been designed, for years now, like, using practical weapons is really safe.
Yeah, and thank you for keeping it safe for all your actors. As a film lover, you want that to be the case, of course.
Yeah, man. And there's just something about practical weapons that, like, for maybe like one or two gunshots, maybe going CGI, but if you have a full out fight scene and you're just only going CGI, it's hard to replicate that same energy and feel and even energy. I mean, because there is a sense of danger with any real and weight with your gun in your hand, like your body just feels it. And so yeah, but you just don't do it for the sacrificing safety and doing it.
I mean, obviously it's less deadly, but like it just annoys me. There's something in most films and TV shows when they treat coffee cups, they're doing all this like, and that's meant to have hot coffee in it.
That's one of my pet peeves, man. I'm like, man, if you don't put some liquid in that cup, man, like I can tell it's floating around there.
Just put some water in there. That's all you got to do. You don't have to have scalding coffee.
Yeah. Yep, exactly.
So yeah, I mean, it does seem for something which was, like you say, an avoidable tragedy. It would be a shame for filmmaking to suffer when just all that needs to be followed is safety procedures.
Correct. Yeah. And if you follow those, there are like 4 or 5 places that if there was a round that shouldn't have been in there, you would have seen it, especially on that rehearsal. But like, I wasn't there, so I don't know like how the ammunition was kept, if it was commingled, if it wasn't. But like, I just know on our sets, everything was segregated from everybody, and there was only literally like 1 or 2 people that had access to it. And that was our armor and assistant armor. And I would be like a backup if I needed to hold something while like they're unloading somebody else's gun. So you just keep it with a small circle of people with a responsibility. Ultimately, the armorer has to be the person that that handles that, and we just don't sacrifice that.
One thing which I did want to get onto, because I find it's really great in this movie, you tackle some issues, which I'd say, especially in America, but also here, hot button issues at the moment. So you've got ex-military, which I know the way servicemen are treated post-military in America, especially, is a big thing that's being looked into. Sadly, not enough being done towards. You've got kind of these gangs, which and the reasons for them seems very important to kind of get into a film like this.
Mhm.
How do you ensure authenticity when these issues are so hot button right now?
So, I always check with. I have a friend who's like a Army Ranger, so on that side, I would always check in with him about like what he's going through, and here's what's happening. Does this feel real to you? And then we had strategic, like our stunt team, have former military as far as like strategic movement and those kind of things. So emotionally, I would go to my friend that's a ranger, and strategically, we relied, with our team on set. And then on the other side of it, man, I grew up in the streets of Memphis, Tennessee, so like I know what like the cats like Leon's character, and the other pieces of the puzzle. Like I've lived that life, I've seen that life, and thank God I was able to like not get caught up in that life or suppressed by that life or killed in that life, because it happens. Man, I just look back, man, just like whew, I've had some close calls, man. So like, just so thankful, man. So yeah, so I would tap into that and just kind of bring some of my background and really bring these worlds together.
Yeah, and there's also police corruption is dealt with in this, and it's one of these maddening issues where it seems those who would be able to tackle it are so defensive towards it that they don't do enough to handle it. Do you anticipate some backlash from that? Because as I say, the it seems the police world can sometimes be so protective of itself, it doesn't admit to and move on from flaws.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, it's a good question. Could there be? Probably. Would there be some people from a certain sect and be like, "Oh, yeah, you're talking about that. I don't want to have anything to do with it." Sure. I have a little bit bigger belief in people, I guess, that the greater number would be like, okay, I see the reasonableness. Oh, I see that this is a story. Oh, I see this is a metaphor, and not a literal like, hey, this is happening in town X. No, this is a metaphorical piece that's wrapped into an action movie, and so yeah, I see that, and I do think just like in general, for some reason I don't know who or how, but somebody has been successful in positioning um, anti-police equals pro-rights and pro-rights equals anti-police. I don't believe that. I believe like, look, we need law enforcement. Period. Like
Yeah,
if something happens, I bet I need a good officer that can come help. And at the same time, we don't want people in a position of power abusing that power against anybody because we have to trust those people to do their job and do it well because we're entrusting a lot of ourselves and our family with these officers. So it's just like officers should not be like hidden behind this quote unquote blue wall, but behind a wall of we're protecting you by making sure that everybody that's with us is going to do the right thing. And for whatever reason, that common sense, logical approach is is overlooked for the extreme left and the extreme right when like neither one of those positions like gets us anywhere in an advancement state.
yeah, I can agree more. I mean, I feel I am pro police, but I'm pro questioning the police when they get something wrong. And there's friends of mine. You sort of know when you post something which friends are gonna immediately, if it's anything to do with the police, go, well, no, blue lives matter. This is why this is important. It's like it's okay to question something and still love it.
Yeah, like it's not one or the other. Like it's there needs to be there is a happy medium there for both. And I got my cousin was a chief of police in Jackson, Tennessee. Like you know, and I just know there. I've seen good officers and I've seen very bad ones of all colors. Like
Yeah,
it's not a white or just white or black. I've had black officers pull me over, like I'm rushing home one night and like trying to get the girl I was dating, trying to get her home like before curfew, and so I ran a light, and then they pulled me over. They put me in handcuffs, searched the whole car, and like and I was just a teenager trying to like not break curfew from somebody. So, and they were black guys and they were mean about it, and I've had Caucasian officers like, give me a warning when I was dead wrong on something, be like, all right, so it's just like, you know, I always tease like, people are God's greatest creation and it's also God's worst creation. And, we just need to start tapping into the better part of ourselves. And if a little film could help you just open your eyes up just a little bit to somebody just a little bit different, so the next time you encounter them, then it's worth it.
I love that. One thing on a slightly lighter note, which I do love, is this is kind of a film which involves getting the band together, getting the crew back together. Just, it's such a wonderful staple of action movies for me. How satisfying is it to do one of those kind of moments?
Oh, it's real cool, man. Yeah, it's real cool. And then this group of guys with Gianni and Steve and Vernon Davis, the former tight end, it was really cool. And it was probably one of the funner pieces on it. And I wouldn't mind doing it again with them, like a prequel, but it was cool. It's like really fun. Yeah.
Yeah, it just seems like one of those moments when, if you're going to do an action film, the moment where the crew gets together just seems like such a great moment to cover.
Yep, it is.
One of the things which you mentioned kind of when I send over the little description about yourself and the work is that something which seems really important to you is the flawed characters. Why is that so important to see in your films?
Well, because we're all like flawed human beings, and I really want a level of realism and authenticity in the film. And like, I feel like real and complex characters are the ones we can actually relate to and not necessarily fall in love with, but follow with the level of empathy. And I feel like when you see these flawed characters and they survive their circumstances, it can give just a little bit of hope on tough days sometimes.
I absolutely love that. And so Day to Die, when is it out?
So it came out on March 4th, last Friday. It's out right now on video on demand, all the iTunes, Apple TV, Vudu, your cable pay-per-view. And so it's out. I'd love for you to check it out.
And what's the next thing for you, Wes? What are you working on next?
Yeah, we're in pre-production on a film called 3 Mile In. It's like a little caper of like a Reservoir Dogs meets Smoking Aces, starring Kelly Rowland from Destiny's Child.
Wow. Oh,
Yeah.
come on. Destiny's Child.
Action star, man. She's gonna like surprise a lot of people, man. It's gonna be a blast.
I cannot wait to see that. Hopefully you'll come back and talk about it when it comes out. Thank you very much for joining us, Wes. It's been a really lovely chat.
All right, thank you, man.
When this comes up on radio tomorrow, we're doing a Irish theme in celebration of St. Patrick's Day. Do you have any Irish artists you'd like to hear a tune from, or any tune? We can play anything for you, but if you fancy theme it towards the theme.
I don't, but I will listen and just pick something in honor of me, and I'm gonna rock with it.
Okay, I'll tell you what. Like, we'll play a bit of Destiny's Child just for you. It kind of links in nicely here.
All right, cool, man.
Thank you very much, Wes. It's been a pleasure talking to you. Very good luck with the film and for whatever comes next for you.
All right, thanks for having me, man. Great chat.
Thanks, Wes. Bye.
All right, yeah, bye-bye.
So that is our double interview for tonight. Please join us tomorrow at 6 p.m. UK time, where we're going to be having our St. Patrick's Day special with the interviews with Wes and with my guest earlier from tonight, Dave. And we hope you'll join us. That's sw20radio.co.uk. And if I can find it, we do have a little caption there. swradio.co.uk, where you can watch that all throughout the world. Thank you very much, guys. I've been Dr. Squee. That was my show. And please remember, guys, in a world where you can be absolutely anything, please be kind.